star, Minnesotan whip Tom Emmer. Tom, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you guys.
All right, let's talk about this vote. You're the whip. You're counting votes. You're breaking arms, or twisting them at least, checking people on the boards. Where do you stand with the vote? Hakeem Jeffries said the Republicans have to deliver 150 votes. Do you have that, and will you need that?
Well, first off, Sean, great to see that you have made something out of your life since leaving Congress. Dagan, we apologize. You've got to carry him a little bit. But first off, Kevin McCarthy is the speaker, Sean. I think I'll listen to Kevin instead of Hakeem. We whipped for 218 votes. That's what I can tell you. We try to whip every single Republican. And we're dealing with a situation this week that, frankly, is a buildup of a lot of emotion that started back in January. You know, we've got a speaker that, once he was elected, tried to get the White House to start negotiating on this very serious issue, making sure the country does not default on its debt. We have a president who literally did not want to get engaged. We ultimately had to put together a deal that we passed, a debt ceiling deal back more than a month ago. They didn't believe we could pass it. And then they still dragged their feet, Sean. And the problem we have is they finally decided to come to the table. They did it over a holiday weekend when people are celebrating the men and women and their families who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our families. And you know this well because you experienced it. Everybody got a call then that they had to get on a plane and get back to Washington, D.C. when they were already scheduled to be working their districts for the entire week. They came back in on Tuesday, and it's been an education process, but a good one.
There's a great deal of caterwauling, though, from many of your fellow Republican congressmen and women. And already at least one, Congressman Ken Buck, has floated using the motion to vacate, which would force a vote to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. What are you hearing about that? Is that a possibility that Speaker McCarthy loses his job?
The greatest thing about this conference, and I think Sean Duffy will remember, Dagan, I don't think Democrats are used to having the diversity of thought, the different ideas. We've got 222 members. They're all unique. They all have their own perspective, and they can all talk about and say whatever they want. They can take whatever action they want. Our job is to make sure that they have all the facts, they have the information they can, that they can represent the people who put them in Congress to the best of their ability, and they can be that voice. When it comes to going forward, we're going to focus on what we've been doing since the beginning of the year, and don't underestimate Kevin McCarthy. People continue to underestimate Kevin McCarthy every single week, and all he has done with this new Republican majority is deliver, and I expect that to continue.
You know, I don't love the deal, Tom. I don't, but I also understand the art of the possible. What can you negotiate with people who absolutely disagree with you? They don't want to cut spending. So I do get that, and I would agree with you. Kevin McCarthy has shocked people at how effective he's been. That you guys actually passed the first volley of a debt limit increase was incredibly impressive. I would just note, I'm going to switch topics on you, but what you did to me is you never answered my question. You're very astute.
You didn't answer mine either.
If you have the votes or not, you're saying a lot of words, but you're not giving me the answer whether you have the votes, and maybe we'll come back to that before we let you go. But I want to switch to this because Republicans, they've been trying to get to the bottom of the alleged bribery scheme involving Joe Biden, but they're hitting a roadblock with the FBI. The agency has been refusing to hand over key documents. Congressman James Comer weighed in earlier on the evening edit. Check this out.
I'm willing to go to the FBI office, but I told Director Wray, if I don't have that document in hand, then he will be held in contempt of Congress starting next week by the House Oversight Committee. I made that very clear.
This morning, fired FBI director gave 2 cents on people claiming the agency has become too political. This is Rich. Watch this.
It's really unfortunate. The notion that the FBI is some sort of leftist cabal out to get the Republicans is so crazy. It just shows you how crazy our times are. The FBI will be fine in the long run. This fever around Donald Trump in the MAGA world will eventually break, but it's become somehow a nutty article of faith that the FBI is out to get Republicans. If you'd asked people 20 years ago whether that would someday be the accusation, they'd say that's nuts. It's nuts, but it will pass.
James Comey talking to the size of an audience of a podcast there. What do you think of the House trying to get this document from the FBI? Will you get it, or if not, will you hold Christopher Wray accountable?
Oh, no. The House is going to get what it's rightfully entitled to under that subpoena. And I would suggest that, first, James Comey has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. And it's sad to see someone who built a career just trade his integrity away for this political partisan nonsense. And Christopher Wray, Director Wray's got to remember who he works for. He works for Congress, and he will be answering to Congress. And if he's not going to do what he's legally required to do, then Jamie Comer has no other choice, as you know, but to follow through on that contempt action.
Do you have the votes?
We always have the votes, Dagan. Always. We whipped for 218. We are going to pass this bill tonight. You just watch.
Do you have at least 150, Tom?
We are going to pass this bill tonight, Sean. We are going to pass it, and we are going to whip every single Republican. We're going to pass this, hopefully, with Republican votes.
Well played. A man you don't want to mess with, Tom Emmer, especially when he's whipping you on votes. Tom, thanks for joining us on The Bottom Line.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
All right.